Hello, my name is May Bahadur and I will be walking you through Adobe Connect meeting. This tutorial video will show online instructors how to create a meeting in Adobe Connect, how to navigate and customize the room, how to invite the students to the meeting, and also how to record the meeting for future references. By watching this video, online instructors can also build empathy toward their online learners by first-hand experiencing learning from a digital learning resource. I will also be pointing out ways that this tool can be utilized to engage students in their online learning from the beginning of the. So the first step I will take is creating a meeting in Adobe Connect. So I will be logging in, and the first window I get is the main page, and what I have to do now is click on Meetings tab. After selecting Meetings tab, I have the option of using one of my existing meetings or create a new meeting. For this tutorial, I will be creating a new meeting so I can walk you through it. I click on New Meeting. This is the page I get. The next thing I need to do is pick a name for my meeting or virtual classroom. You can pick up to 4,000 characters summary. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to select the name and paste it in the summary. But again, you can have as much as 4,000 characters. The next step is to have a start time for the meeting. So I will leave it as it is, the default, which is today at 8 p.m. And the duration is 1 hour. I will change the duration to 2 hours. The good thing about this meeting is the fact that Adobe Connect is very consistent. If you create a meeting once, you do not have to create it again and again for future use. You can just reuse the same link. So the language is English. The next step would be the access. This is important. You need to make sure you pick the last option, the third option, which is anyone who has the URL for the meeting can enter the room. By picking this option, you will allow your students later on to enter this room without being asked for password or getting blocked. I'm almost done here, so I'm just going to hit finish. So this is the information of the meeting I just created. All I need to do now is just click enter meeting room. However, before I do that, I just want to talk about two important things here. One is copying the URL address. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to copy the URL address, and later on, all I need to do is provide this address to my students via email, post it on the course shell, and all the student need to click on the link and they will be entering the room as well. So what I'm going to do right now, I will try that so you get a chance to see both versions, for the students that entering as a guest and the host, which will be you, the instructor. So I'm just going to paste this address here and hit enter. The students will be entering as a guest. All the student needs to do is enter their name and hit enter the room. Okay, so I will go back to this section because I haven't entered the room myself yet, and I will be the host of the meeting. Another thing I need to point out before we enter the room is the recordings. When you record your meeting, later on, you come back to this page and you click on recordings. And all your recordings will be listed here. I don't have any because I just created this meeting, but in the future, when I record the meeting, it will show up here, and then I can just share that link or again, post it on the course website for my students to see. I'm going to go back to meeting information and I will enter the meeting room. I will be prompted to open Adobe Connect, which I'll do. Just to take a minute to load. So this was the first part of this tutorial, creating a meeting. We are done with that. Now I will show you how to navigate and customize your room. Okay, so when first we enter the virtual meeting room, this is the default layout. You can see the tools on the side and a couple of default layouts. You can switch from one to another. But my suggestion is always create your own. So easily you can rearrange your page. You can, you can hide anything that you're not going to be using. And these are the pods, which I will explain shortly what they are. But I'm just going to talk about a little bit about rearranging the room for now. So you can move things around and just basically change the size and location to your liking, how you want to be customized. So, and also I am going to go through all these options. So meetings, this is basically you are going to be the host of this meeting room. So this is the option only you can see. And there is an important part here that you have to keep in mind that you're going to be probably using, and that will be recording your meeting. All you need to do is just go to meetings drop down, pick recording. It will prompt you with, you can add a summary if you would like, but I'm just going to pick the default. And as you can see, this red light appears on top of my screen, and that shows my meeting is being recorded. I can pause it, I can resume, or I can stop it altogether, which I'm not going to be doing that for now. So pausing the meeting is a good way of basically stopping the recording to go and get rid of long pauses in between when you have a class. Okay, so I'm just going to close this one. The next option is layouts. And again, I talked about that a little bit. Basically, these are the defaults. But when you create your own, you don't need to worry about the layouts anymore. Pods are basically each section that you can share with your students. And again, I want to mention that the reason I'm going through this Adobe Connect and chose this tool for engaging your students in your online classes is the fact that this application is very interactive. It gives you options to share information, to have a webcam, which I'm going to get to in a minute, and basically get them involved even before they start their courses. You can create a recording of you going through different aspects of the course, explaining it. You can add a video to welcome them to the course and get them engaged in a fun way. So they are excited about doing their courses and going through the step, and at the same time, they are learning. So the pods, different things. You can have more than one share. I'm just going to add one just for you to see how it looks like. Again, when I open a share, I can just arrange the size to what I need. You can add notes. You can add a new chat. We already have the notes. If I'm not using the notes, I can hide it and I can just add the chat. Here we go. So now I have the option to, chatting with my students. You can share a file. You can share a web link. You can create anonymous polls for a student to answer short questions or yes or no, and so on. The audio, it basically just shows that your mic, you're enabling a single speaker. You can customize your audio. After that are your icons for speakers, your mic, your webcam, and the status, which is a great tool. I'm just going to click on the drop down for you to see This is where a student would go to raise their hand. They will give you a check mark. I always, as an instructor, I do teach blended learning and I use Adobe Connect all the time. And what I do just to make sure they are following, they're still with me, I will always ask them to give me a green check. And, or I'll ask them, to give me, if someone answered a question and, use the mic, then I ask them to applause. So these are basically the ways that you can communicate with your students without really even have to talk. So they can ask you to speak louder. They can ask you to speak softer, speed up if you're going too slow, or slow down if you're going too fast. If I crack a good joke, they can give me a laughter face. And if I do a good job, they can give me applause. So these are basically in some way of changing the status communication, and very useful step away. I always tell my students, if you're stepping away, you need to take a washroom break. Make sure you change your status to step away. I'm going to click on it for you to see, so it will show my status as step away. I can do applause. Just that's how you basically change it. And the webcam, again, great tool to connect with your online students. I am going to click on it and it will activate my webcam. So, hello. The good thing about the webcam is it gives me the option to check my view, see if it's into my liking, my hair is good. Not really, but that's okay. And then after I'm satisfied with what I see on the screen, I can click start sharing. And now my webcam is activated. Again, great tool to get your students engaged, to put a face to the writing, to all those emails and communication, and they give them that extra step of connection with their course and with the instructors. Online students, they can feel isolated pretty quickly, and they sometimes even feel abandoned, and because they don't know if the instructor doesn't get back to them quickly, they can get nervous. But if they can make that connection at the beginning, that will help them throughout the course to have that trust and communication and comfort to approach the instructor and make that connection. Okay, so I will not be using this right now, so I'm just going to hide it because I'm not using it. I'm going to rearrange my page a little bit more. Maybe I'm just going to make the attendee part a little bit bigger. Here we go. Make the chat again longer if I'm going to be using it. You can even customize your chat. You can change the text size. You can change the text color to what you like. And you can have a sound. And you can, start a chat with a specific with the host or with any of the attendees. So as a host, this is the screen. You are the layout or a screen or power you get. You have power over almost everything in this page. You can change layout. You can record a meeting. You can have a speaker activated at all times. However, for attendees or participants, it's not the same thing. You as a host have the power to give the participants the mic, for example. All you do, you just hover over their name, and then you can give them different powers. Start a private chat with them, enable their mic, enable their videos, enable drawing. They can write on the whiteboard, request a screen share. You can make them a host, so they will have all these powers if you would like them to be presenter. If you're doing a presentation in class, and of course, you can make them the presenter. Okay, so now I'm going to try to go to the participant screen. And remember, I logged in a student. And I just want to show you that screen as well. So this is the participant screen. So as you can see, they don't have as many options as a host you have. So they can see the session is being recorded. I always tell my students, be my police. If I forget to unpause the recording, you guys tell me, because they have the option of doing, like, seeing it and letting me know. So they can chat. they can raise their hand or change their status, but that's about it until you give them more power in their screen. So I'm just going to switch back to my instructor or host screen. As you can see, I have more options. And next, I will be talking about how to basically share different things, different pods, in different pods, how to share and how to share your screen. And I will be talking about. So I can click on the drop down in middle of the page. It gives me three options: share my screen, share a document, or share the whiteboard. And of course, you can do your recent shares, which I haven't shared anything. That's why it's empty. So I am going to click on share whiteboard just to show you the whiteboard. So this is where you would go. Basically, you have the option of writing to your class. You can draw. You can give your participant the power to write or draw on the whiteboard as well. So these are my pods. That's where I go to share information with my students. You can add new share. You can share a file with your students. You can share a web link with your students. I'm just going to click on it just to show how that would work. You go on the drop down, add a link, just put the URL, say OK, and all the students have to do is just browse to that site that you provide the address to. I'm going to hide this one. You can also share documents. You browse. I'm just going to open PowerPoint. Here we go. So it's going to take a minute. It's just going to upload my PowerPoint. I just want you to see how it will look like when you open a file in Adobe Connect. It's just converting it because I'm opening a PowerPoint. It's very friendly with PDF. You cannot open, for example, a Microsoft Word here, but a PDF, images, they just work fine, and PowerPoint as well. So again, it's a simple PowerPoint. I'm just going to, that's how you navigate. There are arrows to go, through the slides. It's a very small PowerPoint I just created for a sample for this course. So the last sharing option that I want to show you, which is a great tool to engage your students and keep them engaged later on in the course, would be sharing a screen. You can share your screen with your students, and the biggest thing for them is they have the power to, with your permission, of course, when you make them a host, to share their screen with you. You can maximize your shares as well. So it covers the whole page if you want it to be. You have more room. You click on the drop down and you share. I'm going to click on share my screen. Be mindful of this. That's another point I want to make here. You can share your whole desktop. Basically, every application you have open, it will, if you click on it, if you open it, your student will see it. I always recommend strongly when you're sharing your screen, make sure you click on the applications and you pick the application specifically that you want to share with your students. In this instance, I'm going to pick a Chrome and share. So as you can see, the Chrome just appeared because I shared it. In the little window on the side, you see what you are sharing. And also you have the options to chat and to stop sharing. So that's what I'm going to do right now because I want to stop this at this time. Okay, so I am going to hide this. And the last thing I want to cover, I want to show you how to publish your recordings. So first I have to stop it. I am going to go back to my meeting. Remember the meeting we created at the beginning of this tutorial? I'm going to click on recordings. I tried this at the beginning, but there was nothing, listed. Now I have a recording here listed. It says private. Be mindful of that, because if you don't change this to public, your students or anyone that you want to share this recording with, they will not be able to access it. Before I enter this recording, all I need to do is click access type. Oh, it says please select an item. Make sure you select your item before you click access type. So now I can change it to public. I would say save. And as you can see, the lock open. So now I can click on my recording link, and all I need to do is to copy this link and provide it to my students to be able to go back to this session and watch it again. So this was the last step of this tutorial video. There is a short quiz provided to you in the description part of this YouTube video. Please click on the link and you will be prompted to complete a quiz of 10 questions and you will receive your score upon completion. Make sure you answer all the questions, which is requirement for the quiz, and you can have more than one attempt if you would like. Also, if you would like to start the conversation, you have any question, please you go ahead and leave me a comment or a question in the bottom of this YouTube page. And you can either start a discussion with other participants or you can ask me a question. Thank you.